Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Code Realize Guardians of Rebirth, Arsene Lupin's Route. We're in chapter 11. I think it's a Hero of War. We're in, it looks like Omnibus's cabin. Let's see, Arsene Lupin just rescued Cardia, the Queen, and Lionheart from Finis, and now we are, I guess, from Omnibus's perspective. In the early afternoon light, an elderly woman in a wheelchair is trimming the branches of the trees in her garden. She cuts the ones that have grown too long to keep with the tree's overall shape. Doing so allows the nutrients to spread throughout the tree evenly, leading to healthy growth. Any one branch can increase the yield of 10 more. This is the fact that applies to a number of different situations.
オムニブス、ただいま戻りました。あ、ご苦労様。様子はどうだった？政府は隙を突かれたようです。ロンドンは戦火に飲まれ、このままでは壊滅も時間の問題かと。そう。女王陛下は？彼女は無事脱出したそうです。最悪の事態は免れたということね。それはサンの仕事かしら。いえ、サンが集めた関係者の一人、アルセーヌ・ルパンとアイザックの呪われた子供、その片割れが女王を助け出したそうです。確かカルディア、そう、あの子が。
The freshly trimmed tree sway in the wind, making a light rustling sound. After a few seconds of silence, Omnibus slowly opens her mouth to speak.
どうやら私たちも歴史の表舞台に出る時が来たようね。ギネビア、すべての使徒を集めて、まとめ役はそうね、サンにやってもらおうかしら。
Give him command. I don't remember him having much authority in Lupin's route.
使徒をすべてですか？
Omnibus nods slowly.
アイザックの計画が情報通りなら、歴史は今間違った方向に大きく動き出している。
All you have to do is confirm what your sources say with what Finis just said to confirm if it's true.
アイザックは今、神にのみ許された聖域に手を出そうとしている。
That sounds about right.
そう。はるか昔、私が犯した間違いを繰り返そうとしているのね。オムニブス。
Omnibus smiles at Guinevere's inquisitive voice.
人類の歴史が始まって以来の危機。そういうことなのでしょうね。
A slight breeze blows through the area, stirring the air around them. This happens every day, but this time it feels like a sinister wind that foretells the events to come. Dun dun dun. The view from the airship gets more and more vast as we fly through the night. Lupin is operating the airship. I sit next to him and look out into the sky. The airship is flying very high at the moment. The rebels may have their own airships above London looking for us. With this in mind, Lupin intends to keep us at a high altitude until just before daybreak. If Victoria is to gather her troops, it needs to be done within London. If the rebels take over the Steel City, there would be no way to strike at them from the outside. That's how impenetrable Steel London's defenses are. Lupin will bring the airship down as close to London as possible, then immediately take Victoria into the city. That's what he said. So for a while now, we've been flying through the dark sky. The stars are shining and the moon lights up the sky. There is a sea of clouds below us, glowing a pale blue. The beauty of the points of light shining in the sky is brought out all the move for being away from the city lights. Brought out all the move. I'm not sure what that means. The only sounds I can hear are those made by the airship.
静かすぎて、さっきまでの戦いが嘘みたいか？
Lupin asked me out of the blue, "How did you know?"
わかるさ。俺も同じことを考えてたからな。
It's simple. I see. I turned to look behind me. Lionheart and Victoria are asleep under the light of the lantern. Oh, that's cute. The fact that they can drop their guard down and go to sleep with them is saying a lot about them. I wonder if they're using each other's shoulder as a pillow. That would be adorable. Oh well, fine. Whatever. The queen is lying down while her loyal guard sits next to her. I don't know if I'd be able to fall asleep on that hard metal floor. They're sleeping well. From the looks of their sleeping faces, they almost appear to be a pair of lovers. I wonder how the two of them feel about one another. I can't help but think about that.
あ、お前も寝てていいぞ。
We can't sleep. No, you're awake, so I'll stay awake too.
そうか。でも無理すんな。顔色悪いぞ。
Do you think so? Lupin's kindness towards me hurts for some reason. It hurts. Why? Perhaps it's because I don't know if I deserve this kindness from him.
大変な一日だったんだ。そりゃ疲れるだろうよ。
Lupin seems to think that I look pale because of fatigue, or maybe he's simply being considerate and pretending not to notice this turmoil within me. Thank you, but it's fine. I want to stay by your side. Lupin nods slightly and then falls silent. The silence stretches out and I steal a glance at Lupin's face. He always protects me. He always helps me when I'm in need. He's always at my side. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't understand why he goes to such lengths to show me kindness. I know that his main motivation is to stop the terrorist attacks. I wonder if he feels anything more. I wonder if he feels what I feel for him. The strange emotion that's hurting my heart, yet gives it warmth. I begin to speak without thinking, to say what needs to be said, and what I want him to hear right now. Oh, really? Lupin, I want you to know, my chest feels tight when I think about you. That's really funny. He shows no emotion. I'm glad for that. I was compelled to say that, but what I really want to say to him, but not even I understand myself. I'm happy that you came to save me, but I really didn't think that you'd put yourself in danger. I don't even understand why I would feel that way, but still. I was just thinking about things like, what if something happened to you, and as I desperately tried to find the right words. I notice that Lupin is looking over at me. His eyes are kind and inquisitive, and he's gazing at me quietly. He's got no words this time, he's just taking in the moment. That's cute. So, what I meant to say, his eyes make my heart race. I know I should say something, but all I can do is feel my cheeks getting warmer. Whoa. There's unexpected darkness, but at the same time, this is the airship CG I was talking about in the last chapter. I feel a subtle and gentle pressure through my hat. It all happens very quickly and without warning. It's cute. He's even blushing during that. Like, I can't touch you directly, but I can touch you indirectly. But this moment will hold a special significance to me, or so I hope. It's adorable. The comforting warmth carefully separates itself from me. He didn't even say anything either. She's all being embarrassed, trying to tell him how she feels, and he's just like, let me kiss your hat. As I try to ask what he just did, I hear a noise behind us. Oh no. So I'll wake up.
Lupin, まだ地上には降りないのか?
Lupin shakes his head as the night gets up.
そうか。操縦を任せきりにしてすまない。我が輩にも操縦技術があれば変わることもできたのだが。
気にすんな。大したことじゃねえよ。
Lionheart nods and looks over at Victoria's sleepy face with a kind expression. Not long after that, Lupin begins to bring the airship down. He lands the ship safely on a hill in the suburbs of London without having been seen by anyone. How convenient.
二人とも改めて礼を言わせてもらうわ。
Are you guys just gonna walk back to London? He speaks up at the top of the hill lit by the morning light. You've been able to find a spot to hide away from the airship in the forest. At first I thought I was reading that they were able to hide the airship. I'm like, how?
あなたたちの働きは見事だった。すべてが終わったら国を代表してしっかりと表彰させてもらうわ。
勲章なんて柄じゃねえさ。それよりロンドンの奪還と大聖堂の件頼むぜ。
Victoria smiles.
任せておきなさい。この私に剣を向けたこと、必ず後悔させてあげるわ。
She quickly goes over her plans for the near future. It looks like she has fully adopted Lupin's idea of rebuilding a fighting force from the remaining loyal troops within London.
時は一刻を争うわ。早速行動に移るとしましょうか。あなたたちはどうする？
もちろん協力するぜ。今んとこ政府が頼みの綱だからな。
Lupin nods and extends her hand to Lupin.
ならばあなたたちは盟友。共にこの状況を打ち破りましょう。
Lupin smiles as well, then takes Victoria's hand. A band of thieves cooperating with the government. An unheard of arrangement has just been forged. Later. Once back in the city, Victoria immediately assembles her soldiers, ordering them to gather in the poor district. The soldiers who have been completely worn out have a renewed light in their eyes from these direct orders by the Queen. Operation Take Back London. Not long after that, many soldiers and residents who had remained in the city have gathered in the name of the Queen of the British Empire. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time reading today. Some are covered in soot and others are wounded, but though they are all different, they all wear the same anxious expression.
みんな、よく集まってくれたわね。
Victoria smiles her usual smile, facing without flinching all those who look to her with weariness, anxiety, and doubt.
これだけの人々が私の呼びかけに応えてくれたこと、それが何より嬉しいわ。
She shows no signs of fatigue from the earlier battle and escape, or even from the wound she sustained. She looks out calmly at the assembled crowd as if she was inside her own throne room.
私がここに立っていられるのも、あなたたちが戦ってくれたおかげ。本当にありがとう。残念ながら反乱は成功し、政府は瓦解したわ。敵はどうやら力と知恵を持つ厄介な相手よ。けれど、あなたたちがいる限り、私も負ける気はないの。もう少し私に力を貸してほしい。真のイギリス国民がここにいる限り、私たちがこんな反乱に屈することなどありえない。正義は今この場所にある。反乱軍に正義の鉄槌を、私たちの力を見せてやりましょう。今ここにイギリス臨時政府の樹立を宣言するわ。
A thunderous cheer erupts once Victoria's speech has ended. Her words have transformed their anxiety into hope and their fear into courage. Her speech stirs something with me as well as I listen at the very back of the crowd with Lupin.
昨日の夜まで敵に捕まる寸前だったくせにな。まったく大した女王様だよ。
Yes. The cheering continues and we start to move away from the area.
ここにいたか。
Halt, you're under arrest. Lionheart calls out to us as he runs over.
陛下を無事に救えたこと、お前たちのおかげだ。改めて礼を言わせてくれ。そしてこの借りは必ず返そう。 我が輩の名誉と剣にかけて。
Lupin laughs at seeing Lionheart acting more like his usual self and looks over at him.
こっちこそ礼を言うぜ。俺がいない間、こいつを守ってくれてありがとうよ。
まさか盗賊に礼を言う日が来るとは。我ながらおかしな気分だよ。
A robber. He looks over at me, then back to Lupin and sighs.
感動の場面を邪魔して悪いが、私の紹介を忘れていないかね。
Is this Sholmes? It sounds like Sholmes. Lupin freezes at the sound of the voice that suddenly appears from behind Lionheart. That voice, it can't be. Lupin's face twitches as he looks behind Lionheart.
おお、そうであった。紹介が遅れたな。
Yes, they have. They did that on the train and then at the hotel room.
今回、軍事作戦の面で助力を仰ぐことになった。
Is Lupin gonna like say heck no?
エルロック・ショルメ殿だ。
やっぱお前かよ。なんでこんなとこにいんだよ。
Lupin's like, no, get out here.
説明されただろう。今、この国は危機に直面している。国民として一肌脱ごうと考えるのは当然だ。
But you're a detective. How are you going to help?
何？これでも軍学には明るくてね。私でも役に立てることは多少なりあるかと考えているよ。
マジか。じゃあ今回はお前との共同作戦でもあるってことか。
まあそうなるかな。なるべく足を引っ張らないでくれよ、コソドロ君。
そりゃ俺のセリフだ、ヘボ探偵。
I don't know what that word means, but just the way he said it, they're just throwing names back and forth at each other. Spitefully.
そのヘボ探偵に何度も捕まりそうになっていたのはどこの誰だったかな。
おお、言ってくれるじゃねえの。
Lupin looks at Sholmes, looking like he might grab for him at any second. Lupin, we're on the same team now, so you should be nice. Lupin looks at me, then sighs.
仕方ねえ。今回はこいつの顔を立てて勘弁してやるよ。
やり合ったところで君ごときに遅れを取るとも思えないがね。
Lupin's got a soft spot for Cardian now.
んだとこら！
Lupin! Lupin completely loses his usual cool when confronted by Sholmes. His street punk attitude comes out. Watching them makes me realize that some people really can bring out the worst in you.
折り込み中のところ悪いが、ルパン、貴様はこれからどうするつもりだ？
These words bring Lupin back to his usual self, and he takes a deep breath as he fixes his collar.
まずは仲間たちを探して合流する。何をするにも話はそれからだな。
Be careful, Saint Germain's against you now.
僕たちならここにいるよ。
Yay! We don't even have to go look. They're right here. It feels like it's been so long since I've heard this voice. Victor! The voice of a friend I care for who I have spent so much time with. I turn around.
合流できてよかった。二人とも心配したんだよ。
一言の連絡もよこさないとは余計な手間をかけさせるな。
愛しいプリンセス、俺は君が無事なら何でもいいよ。
ともかくご無事で何よりです。
I'm so glad you're all right too. I had faith that everyone would be fine, but still part of me had been worried, asking, what if? I'm relieved to see them all looking well.
俺たちがここにいるってよくわかったな。
Saint Germain has his own insight.
ああ、
Yeah.
それは伯爵のおかげだよ。
It's his job to know where you are. Saint Germain?
これでもいろいろなコネを持っていましてね。
His omnibus connections. Saint Germain smiles and looks at Lupin and me.
女王救出。世界の歴史さえ変えるような大きな出来事だったはず。自覚はないかもしれませんが、あなたたちは世界にとっても有益な働きをしたのですよ。
I just tagged along. The one who did all the work was... I look up at Lupin. He notices my glance and smiles. No.
何言ってんだ。お前だってすげえ活躍だったよ。
He looks around at all the others.
こいつ、銃弾飛び交う中でビクトリアを救出して宮殿の外まで連れ出したんだぜ。
本当なの？
ならばその間、お前は何をしていたのかと問い詰めたくなるが。
That's funny. Van Helsing's like, so what exactly did you do? Lupin laughs as he begins to relate what he had done to the others. I am very happy. Of course, I am happy to be able to see them all once again. But most of all, I'm happy that Lupin acknowledged me. I'm happy that I might have been able to return perhaps a small favor to repay all that he's done for me. Now, Lupin turns back to them.
今後について話し合おうとするか。アジトの一つが近くにあるから、まずはそこに行こうぜ。
ほう、それは興味深いな。私もお邪魔させてもらおう。
He's like, yes, dear thief, lead me to your hideout. Lupin dismissively waves a hand at Sholmes, trying to shoo him away as he tags along. That's funny. I'm disappointed he actually didn't say anything. Still, we all follow Lupin. I missed this. Before we went to the underground facility, this had been our normal life. Lupin would put together a plan and everyone else would follow. I stare at Lupin as we walk. The more he shows how reliable he can be, the more he extends his hand to me. For some reason, it all makes that tightness of my chest even greater. I sense someone's eyes on me, and I see Saint Germain looking at me with concern.
歩けますか？
Yes, I'm fine. In an instant, I put a smile on my face so as to not keep him from worrying, but it's a fake smile. A small voice in my head whispers that a fake smile is the most appropriate for a doll like me. Aw, that's so sad. He told you you're not a doll. He doesn't care. It's dusk by the time we arrive at Lupin's hideout. The light coming in through the small window is already vermilion tinted. Deli and Cece, who has stayed behind at the mansion, joined us as well. They're likely relaxing in separate rooms right now, along with Sholmes.
しばらくはここがアジトだ。何部屋かあるから適当に自分の部屋を決めてくれ。
We want to be with you. We're going to stay here. What about St. Germain's mansion?
この状況じゃ下手に戻るよりかこっちのが安全だ。それにこれからは政府との連携も大切になる。利便性を考えればここを本拠地とするのがベストだ。
Do you know your couch has a rip in it? With that in mind, Lupin looks over at me.
カルディア、これまでのことをみんなに話してくれ。
Why
一
her?
人で何も言わずに出て行ったんだからな。これはみんなに対する最低限の礼儀だ。
I guess. I nod in response. First, I want to apologize. I'm sorry, everyone.
過ぎたことだ。反省しているなら別に構わん。
Van Helsing replies in a quiet voice, and it seems everyone else is in agreement. I start to speak slowly, feeling thankful for their warmth. I tell them about how I went to my previous home in Wales to search for clues alone so as not to cause them any more trouble. I tell them about the notebook I found there and the words code realize. I tell them about Lupin joining me. I tell them about Father's secret that lies beneath St. Paul's Cathedral. You could have just said, and that's that, because we already know all this. I tell them about how we learned about the revolt in London while on the train. We learned that Finis had been behind everything. Then we had rescued the Queen and agreed to a cooperative relationship with them. I tell them all of this. Yes, thank you. After I'm done talking, they all look at me in shock. What's the matter?
いや、信じらんないくらい大冒険したのね。
戦場から女王を救い出す。まるでおとぎ話ですね。
だがこのおとぎ話はまだ終わりが見えない。そうだな、ルパン。
Lupin nods and picks up where I left off.
ああ、現状じゃフィーニスが優勢だ。ロンドンが落ちるのも時間の問題。
そしてこの内乱が長期化すれば各国も動き出すことは間違いないと。内と外からの挟み撃ち、この国は苦境に立たされることでしょうね。
そこで早期終結を図るためのビクトリアによる徴兵か。
Lupin nods to Van Helsing, confirming his statement.
黄昏さえぶっ飛ばせば反乱軍なんて大したことねえんだ。とにかく一気に本丸狙いってことだ。敵本拠地はセントポール大聖堂。ビクトリアが集めた兵でそこを一気に攻め落とす。カルディア、その間に俺とお前は混乱に乗じて大聖堂に潜入。そこで全ての秘密を暴き出すんだ。
I nod along with him, but a small part of me still has doubts. Maybe I don't want to find the truth. I'll give up on trying to cure my poison, but I also feel that something needs to change. I have to make up my mind and go for it at some point, and I suppose now is that time.
先に言っとくが、今回はとびきり危険な内容だ。
That's your chance to leave if you want.
本当の命がけだからな。付き合う気のあるやつだけここに残ってほしい。
It's like Ocean's 11. This is a highly dangerous mission. If any of you do not want to go, then now is the time to go home. Nobody moves an inch. Of course they'll stick around. I feel like I can hear them all saying that. Guys, it's reassuring, but I'm also anxious. My heart is filled with a mixture of both joy and nervousness.
カルディア、全員参加だそうだ。何か言いたいことは？
Everyone's in. It does sound like an Ocean's 11 heist, I guess. So I don't think that there is a bad end on here, but let me just double check. Chapter 11, no bad end. So we're going to say, is it really all right? Is it really all right? I whispered to myself without thinking. They're all getting involved because of me. I feel a hand on my shoulder. I glance up to see Lupin looking down on me kindly.
お前の事情だけじゃねえよ。俺が前から追ってるテロ計画だって間違いなく関係してるんだ。
今さら関係あるとかないとか、そんなの言いっこなしだよ。僕は僕の意思で参加する。
フィーニスが生きている限り、私は奴を追い続ける義務がある。
私はそうですね。強いて言うならば、向こうの民を犠牲にしたくないから。
He's like, I really don't know how I fit in here. I guess we'll just find out.
そんなところでしょうか。世界を救うなんて柄ではありませんが、私で少しでも助力になるならば幸いです。
俺自身には特に理由ないんだけどさ。毒の治療法見つかるかもしれないんでしょ。だったら手伝うよ。君が心から笑ってる顔を俺は見たいんだからさ。
Aw, Impy, you're adorable. Everyone is looking at me, each with a different expression. Their warm words spread throughout my heart.
手分けだ。差し出された手を素直に取るのも大事なことだぜ。
Alright, hopefully that's long enough to meet up with the main lines after we do. Thank you. I'm sorry for getting you all involved. I know that it's really my own personal issue, but thank you. I really need all of your help to keep moving forward.
私は元から自分の目的がある。お前が気にすることはない。 アイザックの秘密。フィーニスの不死の理由がそこでわかるかもしれないからな。
君の毒を治す手がかりがあるかもしれない。もちろん最後まで付き合うよ。
Oh, they have different lines. It's cute.
俺は世界一の義士であり、同時に愛の戦士でもある。つまりどういうことかって？
Word of love.
カルディアちゃん、君のためなら死ねるってことさ。
That was a lot cheesier than your last line. But whatever.
私も付き合いますよ。人類史での未曾有の出来事。
You kind of have to, though.
その貴重な体験を皆さんと過ごせるならば、私も張り切ってみせましょう。
Lastly, Lupin stands in front of me.
かわいい私のお嬢さん。あなたのためなら、この泥棒紳士とその一味、どのような不可能も可能にしてみせましょう。
Lupin, you are adorable, as always. Oh, he gets down on one knee and gently extends his hand.
もし我らの申し出を受けていただけるのであれば、どうかこの手を取っていただけますか。
You were so charming. I like Saint Germain's root, but oh man, Lupin has definitely got some charm, some lines. His voice and words have always made me smile. I know very well that these theatrical acts of his are always filled with kindness and consideration. Even now it feels like I'm wrapped up in his kindness. I gently put my hand out and Lupin takes it. He smiles and lightly kisses the back of my hand. Oh, that was so sweet. I wish we could have had a CG for that. It was adorable. Well, it didn't look like it met up with where we left off on the other one, but I think it's fine because it sounded like they all said their piece and it was probably going to go to this pretty soon after that. Okay. I have to stop grinning like a fool now so I can keep reading. Midnight. I leave my room and go out into the street and look up at the sky in a daze. All of London is currently at war, and yet the sky above us remains as calm as always. But it probably won't be long before Victoria commands an all-out assault on St. Paul's, and that will also be the moment I find out about my secret. I want to get rid of this poison. I want to be human, not a monster. Although a part of me feels this way, I don't want to know. I want to run away. Another part of me feels differently.
天体観測ですか?
Oh, it's not Lupin. Dang it. I hear a voice from behind. Saint Germain stands there smiling. I couldn't sleep. I'm not looking at the stars, just looking.
なるほど。今後を思えば気分が沈むのもよくわかります。切り替えは必要でしょうね。
What are you doing here? Saint Germain hesitates, then looks over at me. He probably had to meet up with Omnibus. His smile seems somewhat melancholic, though I don't know why. Aww.
あなたを探していたんですよ。カルディアさん。
He's been giving orders to take command over your situation. I don't know what that means. I forgot what that means, but he looks very sad about that. Me, why? I stiffen slightly, thinking that the mission might already be about to begin.
ああ、そうこわばらずに。ただ
Uh-oh.
あなたに会わせたい人がいるんです。
You want me to meet somebody? I wonder who it is. I have no idea who he might be bringing in at this moment, but I sense that he's debating something. I think it's one of the apostles.
歩きませんか? ほんの少しの間、付き合ってくれると嬉しいのですが。
I agreed to his suggestion and we begin walking. As soon as we begin walking, I notice something. I feel like the way Saint Germain walks and the way his footsteps sound seem to strangely lack his usual elegance. What's the matter, Saint Germain? Is something bothering you? I can't help but ask him, and Saint Germain lets out a small sigh.
あなたは人の心まで読み取れるのですか?
Are you going to become an antagonist in here? I don't remember him doing much in his route. It's not that. I was just a little worried. If you don't want to tell me, that's fine.
確かに私の心は乱れていますね。もう長い間なかったことです。
Even in Lupin's route, he doesn't want to kill her. Why now then?
あなたのせいですよ。
He likes you too. He's grown fond of you over this time. What? Seijuman grimaces and continues.
そして一緒に暮らしてきた皆さんのせいでもあるのでしょうね。
I think he's starting to feel a disconnection from Omnibus in this one too. He has all these great friends now and he just, I don't know. He has to betray them, but he doesn't want to. You're leading her down an alley. That's never a good sign. He slowly begins walking again as he speaks to me.
昔、人は楽園を追放されました。寵愛を与えるに値しない存在だと、人は神に断じられたのですね。
What is all this about?
いわゆる現在というものです。それからというもの、私たち人間はずっと許しを乞い続けているのですよ。
Forgiveness from God?
ええ。私たち罪深き者の魂をいつか許してくださるよう、神の慈悲を願い、日々を積み重ねる。それが人の歴史というものです。
I wonder if he's going to tell her about Idea. I don't really understand, but will God forgive us one day?
それこそ神のみぞ知るというところなのでしょうね。
Saint Germain smiles and continues.
私たちはいつかの救済のために正しい歴史を歩まなければいけません。
His correct path is to remove you. Salvation, correct path?
そう。正しい歴史です。ですが、人は弱く、そして間違いを犯す存在。私たちの心には悪魔が住んでいて、彼らはいつだって私たちを間違いへと誘う。ですから誰かが人の歴史を監視し、間違いを正す必要があるのですよ。
Saint Germain's voice is very serious. What is he trying to tell me? Saint Germain, what are you talking about?
この世界には遥かな昔より歴史を陰で管理する組織が存在します。なお、イデア。あらゆる手段で人の歴史から間違いを取り除き、正しき運命へと導くことを目的とする組織。私はそのイデアの使徒。
What? It all sounds like some sort of joke, but Saint Germain is completely serious as he tells me about it. He is more serious than he has ever been in all our time together. That alone is more than enough for me to know that what he's saying now is not a joke or a lie.
イデアは今、あなたという存在に注目しているのですよ。
Me? Saint Germain stops.
ええ。イデアはあなたを排除すべき間違いだと、そう考えているのです。
Before I can ask him what he means by that, I notice the tense expression on his face. He's looking ahead at... Oh. So it's not the apostle I'm thinking of. He's just straight out taking her to meet Omnibus. An elderly woman is seated in a wheelchair and another woman wearing a full suit of plate armor. The moonlight shines down upon them. The elderly woman has a kind smile in contrast to the blank expression on the armored woman's face. There had been no one there a second ago.
どうやら大体は サンが話してしまったよね。なんだか出番を奪われた気分。
Saint Germain is too kind to just like lead her into a trap. So, who are you? I ask her cautiously.
私はイデアの総帥オムニブス。あなたを殺しに来たの。
What? Kill me? The words seem unreal to begin with, but to hear them from the mouth of a kindly old lady makes them seem even more surreal.
アイザックの娘。そしてコードリアライズ指導の鍵となるもの。
絶対的存在に管理された世界規模の永久戦争。父様が絶対的存在となって復活するためには、僕の精神の器と姉さん、あなたの心臓ホロロギウムが必要なんだ。
This person must know about the plan Finis spoke of. I become uneasy knowing that she is aware of who I am and feel my palms grow sweaty.
アイザックの呪われた子供たち。あなたたちは二人ともこの世界にいてはいけない存在なのよ。人の歴史を狂わせ大いなる最悪を招く存在。それがあなたたち兄弟。歴史を見守る者として見逃すわけにはいかないのよ。
As Omnibus says this, the armored woman takes a step forward. At the same time, Saint Germain steps in front of me.
何の真似？
Saint Germain simply stares quietly yet resolutely at the two newcomers.
ようやく気持ちが定まりました。
Oh, are you going to side with Cardia?
彼女を守るつもり？情が移ってしまったかしら。
それは否定しません。ですが、それ以上に私は信じたいのですよ。彼女自身が間違った存在なのだとしても、彼女の歩む未来は絶対に間違っていないと。
Oh, he is going to betray them. Oh my goodness. Saint Germain quickly flicks his wrist and a blade snaps out of his sleeve. Oh, she's ready. The woman facing him pulls a huge sword from the scabbard on her back and takes a fighting stance.
私たちを裏切るほどの価値が彼女にあるというの？
Why'd you bring her all the way there if you were just going to defend her? I don't know. I guess he was on the fence wall taking her there.
ええ、ありますよ。少なくとも私にはね。
Well, at least he's on her side because Lupin would not stand a chance against him. If he was handing Cardia over, there was going to be no one that would stop him. The atmosphere is extremely tense. I still don't quite understand the situation, and I'm about to try to reason with them when Omnibus speaks again.
サン、それにギネビア。二人とも武器を収めてもらえるかしら。
So the woman's name is Guinevere. She obeys Omnibus's suggestion and immediately stows her sword. Seeing her react this way, I could tell the Omnibus words are absolute to her. He's like, I'm not so sure. Okay. I'm like, if Guinevere does, he would have to as well. He wouldn't fight her unarmed. Saint Germain puts his blade away as well.
あなたたち二人はイデアの貴重な戦力。アイザックの計画が進む今、同士討ちで戦力を消耗する気はないわ。
では、 彼女を諦めると。
いいえ、そうではないわ。アプローチを変えるだけのこと。
I'm gonna send the other apostle after her. Omnibus's wheelchair begins to move on its own. She stops in front of me and offers me a small bag. What is it?
単純な毒薬よ。これを飲めば安楽のうちに死ぬことができる。
Poison? I hesitate, then look at Omnibus. You want me to kill myself with this?
そうしてくれるとありがたいのだけれどね。無理強いはしないわ。けどあなた自身が必ずこれを必要とする時が来る。
If it looks like Finis is going to win, take the poison.
あなたがアイザックの手に落ちてしまえば世界は尽きることのない戦火に包まれるのだから。
I don't know what to do. What Omnibus says is most likely true. If Father's plan requires the Horologium, then my death would be the most certain and least risky to prevent it from getting into his hands.
どうかしら。
I'll hang on to it. I quietly take the small bag from her and hold it in my palm. I don't even want to consider the possibility, but the chances are great that I will come to need this sometime soon.
いいのですか？
I'm just taking it. I don't need to use it. I smile at him so he doesn't worry. A new god overseeing an eternal war is probably better that I take the poison along with me than risk bringing something like that into the world. It'll be my final backup measure. It won't be a problem. Saint Germain stares at me for a moment, then eventually nods.
わかりました。あなたが納得するのなら。
Lupin will definitely not be okay with this.
3. 世界は未曾有の危機に直面している。この先、あなたの力がまた必要なの。
I wasn't expecting her to just like let her go like that. I don't remember this at all reading it the first time, so I don't know where my head was when I was reading it, but it was definitely not focused on this.
あなたには最後まで味方でいてほしいものね。
If the other apostle is not here, I'm going to be very curious because I know he's in here. I know he was introduced in this game. Where is he? A breeze blows through the area. I'm distracted for a moment, and in the next second, Idea has disappeared.
カルディアさん。
Saint Germain looks at me, concerned. I'm fine. I look at him and smile. Thank you for protecting me. Aww.
いいえ。守れていませんよ。
You did, though. If you hadn't drawn your blade on her, like, Guinevere would have killed her. You protected her at least for a little bit.
私はあなたの苦しみを一つも消していないのですから。
She's not in pain. Look at her. She's happy. He says this with a melancholic smile. My mind wanders. As I lay in bed in a daze, Victor was considerate enough to bring me some special sleeping goods from the mansion, so I'm free to toss and turn. Sleeping goods. Okay, so poison-proof stuff, I guess. I thought it was like something to help her get to sleep, but I guess not. Thanks to that, lying down should be a comfortable affair, yet I can't sleep. It's probably only natural considering everything that has just transpired. She's really tossing and turning. In the end, after some thought, I decided to go outside once more to feel the cool night air. Are we getting Lupin this time? I walk around aimlessly, then settle down in a space between two shops. There is an endless stream of steam and metallic sounds from a nearby factory. It's hard to believe that this place is currently in the middle of a war. What's that saying? The calm before the storm? I mumbled to myself, then I put a hand in my pocket and pulled out the item I had put in there. The poison omnibus gave me. Under the moonlight, the small bag cast a shadow upon my palm. If I take this, I will die. Is death really accurate when it comes to me? I waste time thinking about this pointless distinction, but I can tell that I'm only trying to avoid the real issue. Even this musing is disturbed by the sudden sound of muffled explosions in the distance. The noise that snaps me back to reality. Even now, as I sit here in contemplation, people are fighting and getting hurt, even losing their lives. Huh? That's when I noticed for the first time my arm is trembling. My entire body is trembling, actually. I find myself fearing the reality of death that faces me. And while I'm thinking about these worries, a particular thought comes to me. I'm afraid to die. My voice sounds so utterly cold and detached, it's hard to believe that it's my own.
こら、何してんだよ、こんなとこで。ちゃんと部屋にいなきゃダメじゃねえか。
Did he hear you say that you're afraid to die? I wonder. Yeah, you got Lupin. He does not look happy. He looks annoyed. I was lost in my own thoughts and didn't notice anyone approach me. I look up to see Lupin, who looks a little annoyed. I quickly hide the small bag that I've been holding so that he doesn't notice. Lupin, why did you come out here?
そりゃこっちのセリフだ。なんでこんなとこにいんだよ。今一人歩きなんて。なんだよ。なんかあったのか？
What?
何がじゃねえよ。泣きそうな顔してんじゃねえか。
Oh, she's gonna cry. I mean, she's afraid. She doesn't want to die. She doesn't want to die from the poison. She doesn't want to die from Finis. It's nothing. You're imagining things. Whatever. He's not gonna let that slide. Lupin stares at me for a moment, then mutters, "If you say so." I'm ashamed of myself for considering taking my own life so easily, thinking back to all the things Lupin has done for me. I feel another wave of self-loathing come over me. He's a wonderful man who has saved me. His kindness and sincerity are like a ray of light that shines upon everyone around him. I really think that he's the complete opposite of me. Thoughts like these cause a prickly pain in my heart.
ま、言いたくなきゃいいけどよ。そんじゃまあ、俺もここで休憩すっかな。
He looks a little annoyed that you won't tell him. He doesn't criticize me for leaving my room, he simply sits down next to me, and I know why he would do something like this for me and what it means. I understand it perfectly. Right now he's trying to console me because I looked sad. He doesn't even ask for an explanation. He's sitting close by. He's demonstrated his kindness to me any number of times now. He doesn't have to say anything at all for me to understand what his intentions are. Lupin, are you gonna cry? You should cry. You should cry on him. That's the very reason why I can't help but ask him about it. Why have you done so much for me? Perhaps I'm being a little too vague as Lupin looks at me suspiciously. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't bother explaining myself. The words simply pour out of me, goaded on by my emotions. My poison and my secret, they don't have anything to do with you. My hands clench into fists. I want him to understand how I feel. But I'm not able to find the right words to describe it. This slight sense of indignation makes my words all the more forceful. I don't understand why you would go through all you've done to help me. I don't see why you're risking your life for me. But even after I tell him everything, he simply smiles his usual smile and shrugs his shoulders.
お前を助ける理由そりゃ、俺が正義の味方だから。それじゃ、納得できねえか
That's such a Lupin thing to say, because I'm a hero. It's funny. This causes an inexplicable anger to build up inside me. Oh no. What do you mean, hero? Is it really a good enough reason for you to get hurt? I'm desperate. Finis and Omnibus, recalling what they told me, flusters me even more. This mission could cost you your life, right? There's a chance you might die. I'm a doll, a monster. merely a tool for the horologium to be transformed. My existence is an insult to humanity. I shouldn't be allowed to live. Just being alive brings misfortune to those around me. I'm happy that you would save me. I'm so thankful, more than words can express, but you might die. I'm shouting now, pummeling him with all the fear that has been lying in my heart. Why would you do that for me? Why? The anger turns to sadness, trapped within my heart, unable to find release. Why? Oh, he's being quiet again. Lupin seems like the quiet type when it comes to his feelings. It's just, it doesn't need words.
理由は2つある。
We're going to talk about it though. When Lupin finally breaks the silence, his voice is soft.
まず1つ目。これは確かにお前の戦いだ。だが同時に俺の戦いでもある。
He looks me right in the eyes, like he did that night long ago when he stole me away. I can see the moon reflecting in his eyes.
前にも言ったが、テロ計画は俺とは無関係じゃねえんだ。
He continues, though he seems a little hesitant.
テロ計画の情報はな、俺の先生から得たものなんだ。
A teacher?
ああ、俺に生きる術と正義のあり方を教えてくれた人だ。
This is the first time it occurs to me. I don't know much about his past. Of course, I know how he came to be in London and how he met MP and Saint Germain, but I know nothing about his life prior to that. How did he come to decide that he wanted to stop these terrorists? And what made him become a thief in the first place?
そういや、話したことねえな。俺がなんで今ここにいるのか。
Aw.
何のために必死になってるのか。
I want to know what your second reason is. Is it because of her? He sighs and begins to tell me almost absent-mindedly. He looks up at the moon with a wistful look in his eye. Here we go, monologue time. So why is Saint Germain's the only one that's voiced? They were getting more and more voice acted as the routes went on, and now we're at Lupin's and there's just no voice acting at all. Whatever. I was just the sort of kid you couldn't find anywhere, an orphan with no parents or family. I lived in Paris, pickpocketing every day just to get by. I guess I had a talent for it. Lucky for me, I was never caught, not even once. I guess that's not completely true. I did get caught once. By your teacher. I think I was around 10 years old. I tried to grab a guy's wallet, but the moment I touched it, he grabbed my arm. I resisted, but it was all over, or so I thought. Instead of hauling me off to the police, he said to me, "You lack fundamental skills, but you have potential. I could teach you the real way to be a thief." That's how I met my teacher. He was one of those honorable thieves. He would steal from those who made their money dishonestly and pass it along to the poor. That was his job. I respected him. I was just a kid, and I genuinely thought that what he did was the most amazing thing in the world. I mean, I still do think that he was amazing. He never told me his name. I found it later on. But even now, I just think of him as my teacher. Yeah, I learned a lot from him. Infiltration, escape, theft, fraud, disguise. He taught me all the skills that come to mind when you think of thieves or spies. And then, I don't know when I asked him, why is he teaching me so much? And he told me, I have done many dark deeds. Some I did unknowingly, and others I committed fully aware of the evil I was doing. The reason why I steal for the poor, and why I'm teaching you the skills for survival, is to atone for my sins. I know that none of this will forgive me of my crimes, of course. And that's about it. He never told me any more about it. Instead, he would say, it doesn't matter what the others believe to be right, but always abide by this. Protect your own definition of justice and faith with your very life. That is your only true guide to this world. It's what I was never able to do. Those words struck me deeply. They still hold great meaning to me even to this day. As to who exactly my teacher was, I found that out much later. That's right, long after that incident. Several years later, I trained and honed my skills under his tutelage. To be completely honest, I had far surpassed him in terms of pure technique. It was then I found out by coincidence. My teacher had stopped giving the money he stole to the poor. He had tricked me and taken advantage of me. He used the money I had stolen to create a criminal organization. It was a huge shock. I hadn't expected that at all. My body felt as heavy as lead. My teacher had been like a father to me. For a person like that to betray you, you never know what'll happen in life. I tried to make him stop, but he wouldn't listen. He cut me out of his life instead. It happened on a rainy day, and then I was lost, not knowing what to do. The criminal organization that my teacher had created was one that preyed upon the weak, and that organization was operating off of the money that I had stolen. It troubled me. It troubled me a great deal. Then I made up my mind. My teacher taught me how to survive. He gave me a principle to live by. No matter how he betrays me, my heart will always feel awe and respect for him. What would the version of him that I feel in my heart do if he uncovered a criminal organization like that? When I thought of it that way, the answer was obvious. I will bring down this organization and open my teacher's eyes. I thought it was a brilliant idea. I thought we'd be able to start over again. I infiltrated the organization and stole all their stored riches and found evidence of their crimes. I donated the money to several different orphanages and anonymously submitted the evidence to the police. But before the police could get involved, the organization collapsed in on itself. There was internal discord. It was because I had driven them into a tight corner. They started looking for a traitor among them and ultimately killed one another. Oh, little Lupin looks so cute. I was at my teacher's deathbed. That was on a rainy day as well. Bad things happen when it rains, always. He'd been tossed into the back alley like an old rag. He looked like he'd been through some cruel torture, and he had a deep wound that seemed to be critical. I could see at a glance that they'd done some terrible things to him. I thought he was already dead, but he looked at me and smiled. He said something to the effect of, "It's nice to know that you would shed tears for even someone like me." Aww. I pretended to be his son and made the arrangements for his funeral, and I organized his possessions that he left behind. That's when I found out who my teacher truly was. It was in a handwritten note that I found among his things. My teacher had originally been an agent belonging to Twilight, a member of Britain's intelligence agency. It seemed he was quite skilled, and he was ranked pretty high, too. I heard that Twilight was an excellent intelligence agency. His skills and knowledge were well beyond those of an average person. I was surprised, but it also made a lot of sense. I remember exactly what the note said. I made my escape from Britain when I saw what Isaac Beckford's plan, Code Realize, entailed. It terrified me. I may have been able to stop it if I tried. But I can tell that the regret of giving up is slowly eating away at my soul. And here is what it said in the end. Isaac, I ran from that place so that I could stop him someday, and yet... No, perhaps it was inevitable that I would end up like this since the moment I ran. My teacher had run away from some plan and it haunted him. And I am his student. So in order to carry out the justice that he'd never been able to, and to find out what this plan was that tortured him so badly,
俺はロンドンに来た。あとはお前の知ってる通りさ。
I realized by the tone of Lupin's voice that he's reached the end of his story. The origin of the great Arsene Lupin is something of a tragic story. I feel like I've touched on part of his life.
もう昔のことだよ。そんな顔すんな。 けど、これでわかったろ？俺には俺の戦う理由がある。
A long time ago, he laughs and talks about it as if it doesn't affect him. But the story was probably not as easy to put in the past as he makes it seem. I can sense it just by looking at his face. Thank you for telling me. I understand why you would risk your life for this. Lupin looks at me and smiles.
そうかい。けど、まだ終わってねえぞ。理由は2つあるって言ったろ。もう一つ、わかるか？
I was gonna say, that's the reason why you want to stop Twilight, but that doesn't answer her question about why you care so much about her. I spend a moment to think of what it could be, but I come up with nothing. I don't know.
じゃあヒントだ。怪物と人の違いは何だと思う？
I don't know what he means, but I instinctively flinch at the word monster. I don't know that either. I don't know what he's thinking, seeing me this way, but he has some sort of grimace as he speaks to me kindly.
人間ってのは最初から人間なんじゃない。誰かを心から愛したとき、初めて人間になる。つまり、誰かを愛せるかどうか。怪物と人の違いってのは、そこじゃねえかと俺は思うぜ。
Whether one can truly love or not. I think for a while, then look up. I think, Lupin, I love you. She just comes out and says it. He's like, whoa. And Victor, and Van Helsing, and Impy, Saint Germain, Deli, and CC2. I enjoy being with all of you so much, and I feel so at ease. Isn't that what love is?
そいつは賑やかでいいな。でも俺の言ってる愛してるはちょっと違うぜ。
What do you mean?
たった一人、世界で一番特別で大切なやつに送る愛してるだ。そいつの笑顔のためなら自分の全てを捧げたって惜しくない。そういう気持ちになるってことさ。
I do have that. There is someone I feel that strongly for. Lupin is looking down on me kindly beneath the moonlight. A feeling both comforting and painful is spreading in my heart. I would gladly give everything I have, everything in the world, if that special feeling is what it means to love someone. Then when I think of someone and I feel that way, it means he's the one I... Lupin, is there anyone you feel this way towards?
ああ、いるぜ。
When I hear that, my chest tightens and I feel like I'm suffocating. And then I realize it's because I want to be Lupin's special someone. I want him to say that he loves me. That's why it's become so painful to stay by his side. It's because I realized that there is no way a monster like me could be good enough for someone like him.
俺は愛してるやつがいる。そいつのためならこの身を差し出しても構わない。それが俺が戦うもう一つの理由だな。
His voice is soft and gentle. His words exude warmth, like they're wrapping themselves around something. Ah, I genuinely feel that I envy this person. How happy that person must be to be loved by him. She's just going to think this. Lupin, when are you going to tell her? Sitting by his side, talking with him and laughing with him. How full must their hearts be with their endless conversations and his smile.
そいつはさ、弱虫で泣き虫で
Cries a
本
lot.
当に危なっかしくてよ。
I don't want to hear this, but I can't bring myself to move away either.
自分のことにはやたらと臆病なのに、他人のことになると妙に勇敢で。
His words are so warm. Even I can tell how much he loves this person. Lupin stops abruptly for a moment, as if debating something, then opens his mouth again after a short pause.
自分のことを怪物だなんて思ってるバカなやつなんだよ。
Oh, is she going to get it yet now? Huh? Is there another CG? Oh my
最初は
goodness.
ただ見てられねえって思った。全部諦めたような顔してよ。悪い意味で人形みたいだと思った。
Oh.
俺は俺の都合でそいつに関わった。代わりと言っちゃなんだが、そいつを笑顔にしようって俺は誓った。
His words spread through my heart. I can feel that warmth racing through my entire body, making me feel burning hot.
いつだったかな、そいつを好きになったのは。
This man always saves me.
出会ってすぐだったような気もするし、一緒に過ごすうちにだんだんと好きになったのかもしれねえし。
Ah, he really is.
特別なきっかけはなかったかもしれないけどよ。この気持ちは本物だぜ。
I feel like someone else said this thing. It might have been when we first met, or it was Saint Germain, or it might have just been as I spent time with you. You've already heard this. You gotta give us some other monologue. But whatever. He's always there for me to save me.
人だの怪物だの、そんなことは関係ねえ。愛してるよ。本気でな。
It occurs to me for the first time now. Every time Lupin has saved me, smiled at me, and lifted my spirits, I loved him a little bit more. I had grown to think of him as the most important person in the world. Oh, that's so adorable.
ま、とにかく俺はそいつをなんとか幸せにしようって、それだけで頭がいっぱいなんだよ。だから本気でこの問題に挑むし、そのためには俺の全部をかける。これが俺の戦う理由ってわけ。ご理解いただけたかな、我が愛しの姫君よ。
So adorable. He says this playfully and I can't help but smile. I don't think you need to trouble yourself with making that person happy. She's probably already quite happy. She probably already knows how much you love her.
そりゃ光栄だね。
Lupin, I never realized
あ、何がだ？
that I've been human for a long time now. And it's thanks to you, Lupin.
そうかい。俺はとっくに気づいてたぜ。お前が人間だってことにな。
He looks so cocky. He's like, oh yeah. He smiles mischievously, but I look down in embarrassment. But I'm happy. The sad, sullen feeling I had earlier has dissipated somewhat. I'm genuinely happy that Lupin is here next to me right now. I hope from the bottom of my heart that I can go on feeling this joy forever. Then, before dawn breaks, preparations before battle begin under Victoria's command. This means she got her forces ready to attack within 24 hours of escaping from the rebels' raid of Buckingham Palace.
お前たちでなくとも多少の犠牲は覚悟しろ。無傷で終わる戦いではない。ルパンも言っていたが、命が惜しいものは残った方がいい。
Van Helsing looks around sharply at those of us who have gathered in front of him. I'm going. I have to keep moving forward. Any doubt I had about whether or not I'm a monster have disappeared. Lupin loves me, and I love Lupin. That's all I need to know.
ここまで来たら今更だよ。それに僕はもう逃げたりしない。
Yay, no more running.
イギリスの行く末を決める戦い。正直興味ないんだけど。カルディアちゃんを。彼女が助かるかもしれないんだ。黙ってるわけにはいかないっしょ。
Who cares about London? We're saving Cardia.
私も全てを見届けるため最後まで付き合いますよ。
Yeah, you have your own agenda.
そんじゃ行くとしようか。ドラちゃん、 留守の間はシシーを頼むぜ。
よも行こう。
We're all taken aback by this. He falls silent with a serious expression.
なぜだ？人間同士の戦いなどお前には関係ないはずだ。
ああ、人間の争いなど世には関係ない。勝手にいくらでも争うがいい。だがこの戦いが長引けば犠牲者も多く出るのだろう。それを見過ごすことはできぬ。力ある者はその力を正しきことに使う義務がある。
With great power comes great responsibility. Deli says this quietly and with determination.
吸血鬼であろうと人間であろうと弱き者が犠牲になろうとしている今、その力を行使しないことは罪だ。
Deli.
なるほど。勇ましい考えを持つようになったものだ。
うるさい。世もいろいろと考えるところがあるのだ。気高き父上ならばきっとこのように行動する。世はそう思っただけだ。
Van Helsing lightly pats Deli on the shoulder as the boy looks down.
助力感謝する。
Oh, that was adorable.
お前の言葉、その正しさ、私は一生忘れることはないだろう。
They're bonding already. Van Helsing gives the vampire boy another look.
ありがとう。
With that, he leaves the room.
今ありがとうって
He did.
あいつありがとうって言えるのね。
Deli looks towards Van Helsing's back in shock. Then he smiles bravely.
世は気高きノスフェラトゥの王だぞ。王は常に正しくあるべきなのだ。
Deli leaves the room next, then MP, Victor, and Saint Germain follow. I take in a small breath. This is likely to be our last battle. I feel it in my bones. Lupin turns to me, then extends his hand with a serious expression.
あなたの未来への道行き、私にエスコートさせていただけませんか？ミス・カルディア。
He says Miss Cardia. That was cute. Oh my gosh, Lupin, you're too much. I can't handle it. Can't handle it. I laugh at his dramatic delivery. It would be my pleasure, Monsieur Lupin. I know I said that wrong, but it's fine. I gently take his hand and our eyes meet. I feel like our hearts have connected and now words are unnecessary. Oh my goodness, it's still going. How long is this chapter going to be? We travel through the middle class district with Lupin leading us. We're supposed to break into the cathedral while dodging fire from the gun turrets during the attack by the British soldiers. I go over our current situation and our mission a number of times in my head. Suddenly, Lupin stops and looks ahead of us up the street as if in anticipation. There is an explosion in the distance, and the path ahead takes on a subtle scarlet tinge.
始まったな。
激戦だね。
今正面から交戦している部隊は陽動で、別動隊が内部へ潜入。外と内から同時に攻めるという作戦でしたね。
ああ、内部への潜入経路は俺が教えた。あとはショルメの作戦次第だが、せいぜいフィーニスの野郎に作戦負けしねえことを祈るぜ。
Or so much for your 0% failure if you're crossing your fingers.
祈ったところで意味はない。戦いの混乱が収まらないうちに潜り込むぞ。
With this, Van Helsing begins running forward. We all nod to one another, then hurry onward to the cathedral. St. Paul's Cathedral is already surrounded by a conflagration. The explosions and gunfire seem to be adding fuel to the flames started by last night's battle. We hold our breaths as we all run through the intense heat and smoke.
もうすぐだ。
I hear fighting up ahead.
おお、いよいよって感じ。
こいつら一体どこから攻撃してくるんだ。気をつけろ、黄昏の兵士だ。一瞬でも隙を見せるな、やられるぞ。
I can hear the tense shouts of the soldiers. Lupin takes cover behind the collapsed wall to examine the situation. We all follow his example and join him in hiding.
どうやら苦戦しているようですね。
Saint Germain peeks over the wall and reports what he observes.
まだ内部に入り込む連中がもたついているようだ。
これじゃあ潜入以前の問題だね。
計画の変更を提案する。
Everyone turns to him.
このまま正面から行く。敵の数を減らしつつ、その上で潜入する方法だ。
それは潜入というか強行突破じゃん。
Well, he is like an ex-Twilight member. I'd probably trust his plan. I nod in response. Lupin narrows his eyes slightly as he looks out into the battlefield ahead.
いや、バンの案が一番現実的だ。仮に俺たちが潜入したとして戦いに政府軍が負けたら意味がねえ。
つうことは戦うわけね。インピーさん、荒ごと苦手なのにな。
それでは行きましょうか。悩む時間が惜しいですから。
You know, Saint Germain can just handle them all by himself. I nod to myself, then mentally prepare for the next moments. The battlefield is only a stone's throw away. Bullets and blades fly in the brutal fight. There are already piles of the fallen, both enemy and ally, everywhere. The enemy soldiers are here in great number, and Twilight forces are mixed in among them. The loyal troops seem to be at a disadvantage in terms of weapons, numbers, and fighting abilities.
どう見ても劣勢だね。
ひるむな。私たちの肩にイギリスの命運はかかっているのだぞ。撃て撃て。
The man shouting commands looks like the leader of the platoon. He encourages the immediate soldiers under his command to somehow keep trying to push forward. They misspelled soldier. Whatever. However, a bullet rips through his chest and he falls to the ground in a heap. Oh my goodness. You need to help him. You can't just grab every person that falls down. Lupin grabs my arm as I try to run forward.
やめとけ。ありゃ即死だ。
No, that's so horrible.
ひどくない戦争なんてないよ。
Victor's expression is strained as he takes a test tube out of his coat. Takes out 3 test tubes. He throws the tube at a group of enemy soldiers that has been firing nonstop. The test tube breaks at their feet and a cloud of smoke immediately forms, obscuring them from view.
なんだこれは。敵の煙幕だ。気をつけろ。
And Halsey takes a step forward as the enemies recoil, but a small figure darts into the smoke before he can take another. Is it Deli? As soon as the figure disappears into the smoke, I hear the sound of brutal hand-to-hand fighting. Once the smoke dissipates, I see a crowd of fallen soldiers. And Deli standing there confidently.
ここは余が引き受けよ
お前。
お前たちにはやることがあるのだからな。さまつな梅雨払いなど世に任せるがいい。
Yeah, I guess it would be too trivial for even Saint Germain. We'll just let the little boy vampire handle it. Billy turns to us and gives us the smallest smile.
行け。毒を治療する方法見つかると良いな。
Oh, you're so cute. Deli. Deli nods. Enemy soldiers begin to appear from all around, about to surround the loyalist troops, however. Deli runs like a shell fired from a cannon, knocking down any foe he comes into contact with.
あれは味方なのか。あの身体能力、どう考えても吸血鬼。
Yeah, you have a vampire joining you. You also be ashamed for killing them all.
助けてくれてるんだ。なんだって構うもんか。おいみんな、あんな子供が戦ってんだぞ。俺たちがひるんでどうする。
There you go, rally them up. The other soldiers call out in agreement. At the same time, we begin to hear the sounds of fighting coming from within St. Paul's.
別動隊が侵入したか。まだ絶望するには早いようだ。
ああ、チャンス到来。行くぜみんな。
Lupin starts sprinting towards the building. Thank you, Deli. I only catch a glimpse of him before I dash away. Deli, no, the vampire king, Dracula II, slightly raises his hand in response to my shouted thanks. The battle within the cathedral is a continuation of the chaos outside. The soldiers who broke in are going head to head with the enemy forces who had been crammed inside. It looks like most of the enemies here are Twilight soldiers. The quick movements and precise sword techniques take down the government soldiers one after another.
予想はしていたが、フィニスは見当たらないか。
You can't find him that easily. Van Helsing sounds annoyed and cautiously looks around him. Of course, the enemies inside have no intention of letting us take our time and begin to attack us as soon as they see us. Of course.
よっと、危ねえ。
Lupin, who is at the front, jumps back from a swing by a Twilight soldier just in time. Once Lupin retreats, Van Helsing strolls forward. Naturally, the enemies rush towards him. Look out! He's fine. In the next instant, there is a loud roar and the enemy soldiers are thrown to the ground where they lie motionless.
危ない。何のことだ。
He's like, what are you on about? Funny.
私に構う暇があるなら、地下への道とやらを早く見つけてみせろ。
それならもう見つけてるよ。
え、マジで？
西側奥の壁、妙な違和感がある。仕掛け扉だろうな。
Lupin points to the far end of the cathedral.
わかる？
Not at all, but if Lupin says so, he's probably right.
それでは進みましょうか。
I just noticed Impy's face. He's too busy reading the lines. We move forward through the fierce battle. Fierce fighting. They are going all out. We duck flying bullets and Van Helsing, Victor, and Saint Germain take down all the enemies that come our way.
こんなもん命がいくつあっても足りねえぜって。
A Twilight soldier appears in front of Impy, striking at him with a sword. But before he hits, Saint Germain pierces the sword through the man's shoulder.
あんがとさんちゃん、頼りになる。
安心してください。あなたも彼女のついでに守ってあげますよ。
ついでに、サンちゃん、俺のこと嫌いなの？
No, he just likes her more. The enemies start to focus on us, coming at us in huge waves.
いちいち追われては面倒だな。ここらで一度無力化しておくか。フラン、伯爵、手を貸せ。
オーケー、任せて。
うん。頼られては仕方ありません。腕を振るうとしましょうか。
ルパン、お前は先に仕掛けを動かしておけ。
ちょいちょいバン君、俺はインピーさんの手はいらないの。
He's like, excuse me, what about me?
ああ、
No.
邪魔だ。
ひどい。
While they snipe back and forth, Lupin lifts me into his arms.
頼りになるね、うちの連中は。そんじゃ期待させてもらうぜ、みんな。
Oh, are you going to carry her? Lupin?
いいからこっちの方が確実だ。
Not a single one of the enemies notice us as Lupin starts running. He finds blind spots in the enemy's vision and slips through their lines without any of them catching on. He almost moves like magic. And then we're at the wall at the far side before we know it. Everyone else is still behind us. Lupin, the others aren't here yet.
あの連中なら心配いらねえ。勝手に自分で追いつくさ。それより
Lupin pauses, then hunkers down and starts feeling around on the floor. It takes only a few moments.
見つけた。ここが地下への入り口だな。
As Lupin says this, I see a square hole open right by his feet with stairs leading downwards.
さて、クライマックスだ。お嬢さん、お手をどうぞ。
He's gonna play the gentleman throughout this whole thing. Lupin extends his hand to me as he asks. But of course. Once the others have all caught up, we start descending the long dark staircase.
このセントポール大聖堂にはもともと地下室があるんですよ。
Saint Germain narrates our trip while her footsteps echo down the stairway.
納骨堂として用意されたもので、イギリスに貢献した特別な英雄だけが眠る場所なんだそうです。
Are we heading to that crypt right now?
いや、降りてきた距離を考えれば、俺らがいるのはさらに地下だろうな。
Come to think of it, I can no longer hear the sound of fighting from up above. It's very quiet here and eerie.
ロンドンのことは知り尽くしたと思っていましたが、大聖堂にこんな施設があるとは。
Saint Germain sounds impressed and his voice echoes around us. Ahead of us lies Father's secret. Is that where it's ending? Is it going to be a cliffhanger? Doesn't sound like it. Finally, we reach the bottom of the long staircase. We discover a dimly lit path that looks exactly the same as the one we walked through at Father's underground laboratory. We walk a few paces down the seemingly endless path.
ああ、もうここまで来てたんだ。これはちょっと予想外だな。
There he is. He appears as if melting out of the darkness. Melting. Melting out? How does that even work? None of us can hide our shock or distress from seeing immortality step out in front of us.
不死身か。目の前でその証拠が動いてるってのに、どうも納得がいかねえな。
それはそうだろうさ。普通は一度死んだらおしまいだからね。生き返るなんて人間じゃありえないよ。
その言葉を鵜呑みにするなら、あなたは人間ではないことになりますが。
それが何かおかしい？怪物の姉を持つんだよ。その弟もまた怪物でもおかしくないでしょ。
He chuckles to himself, then without losing his composure, he makes a motion like he is contemplating something.
地上での内乱、すでに周辺諸国は嗅ぎ取ったみたいだ。このまま鎮圧が長引いてしまえば、これはもう確実に戦争だね。君たちいいの？こんなところにいてさ。
はっ、心配いらねえよ。うちには気の強え女王様がいるんでな。内乱なんてバカなこと あっという間に鎮圧するだろうよ。
内乱が終わる？ああそうか。君には理解できてないようだ。
Huh?
どういう意味だ？
これ以上の問答は無用だ。今この場で諸悪の根源を断つ。
Van Helsing speaks coolly to Finis, who still seems to be in a good mood through all of this.
反乱軍の首領フィーニス、覚悟はできているな。
You're just gonna shoot him and he's just gonna come back.
どうぞお好きに。
He's like, go ahead.
というか、言葉を飾らなくてもいいのに。お前が憎いから殺す。そう言った方が君にはお似合いだよ。
Before we can stop him, Van Helsing pulls the trigger. There is a gunshot and a thick spray of blood. Finis's body is thrown back, flying through the air. The corpse rolls away into the darkness. He shot him at close range with actual buckshot. It's obvious what the result would be. But on the other hand, I have an extremely irrational surety. There is no way Finis would die. For some reason, I firmly believe in this impossibility. I'm certain of it. Then, as if to prove my conviction right.
さて、気が済んだかな？
Are you happy now? He appears in front of us again.
ほう、全くの無傷とは。不死というのは目の当たりにすると実に驚異的ですね。
Saint Germain seems detached as he makes this observation, but Van Helsing calmly levels his gun at Finis again. Oh my goodness. With another series of gunshots, Finis crumbles pathetically to the floor, but... Finis's laughter fills the room, and he steps out from beyond the darkness yet again. And this time there are two of him. Even Van Helsing is compelled to lower his gun with wide eyes. There's more than one. They're everywhere. Then, following suit, multiple Finises appear from the surrounding darkness. Oh my goodness. Before we know it, we're surrounded by several exact copies of Finis.
あれ俺いつの間にか寝ちゃった。なんかフィニスがいっぱい。
Let's see how many Finises it takes to fall asleep. Start counting.
だとしたら間違いなく悪夢だな。
これがお前の不死のからくりか。
In response to Van Helsing's whispered accusation, the central Finis smiles a beautiful yet haunting smile.
そんなに驚くことじゃないでしょう。さっきも言った通り、僕の姉さんは怪物なんだ。なら、僕自身だって怪物であるのは当然だ。
Of all the figures around us, this one Finis seems to be speaking to us as a representative.
とはいえ、僕はホムンクルスではないけどね。僕と姉さんとはホロロギウムのあるなしで根本的な作りが違うからさ。
He looks coldly at me as he says this, but I also feel him staring at me with murder in his eyes. He carefully takes his glass-like eyes off me as he begins walking back into the darkness.
父様の秘密、それを知りたいんでしょ、姉さん。だったら命がけでついてくるといい。
He stops only once, then turns to me with an angelic smile.
真実を見せてあげるよ。
Well, let's go. This is what we came here for.
そして共に父様のいや新しく生まれる神の一部になろう。
Well, Saint Germain's not going to allow that. Actually, she's not either. Finis calmly melts away into the darkness, and Van Helsing immediately tries to follow.
待て
Oh my goodness. But a group of Finis's attacks us all at once as if to block us. Oh my goodness.
ちょおお
退路も断たれましたか。こうなれば。
Saint Germain grabs one of the attacking Finises and easily tears him apart. Then he quickly looks over at Lupin and me.
お二人ともどうぞ先へ。ここは我々で抑えるとしましょう。
Van Helsing and Saint Germain will happily kill all the Finises for you.
えなになに彼女の護衛役そんなら俺が
インピよそ見しないで前から来てる
Oh, come on, Impy. Keep your head in the game.
ルパンは戦闘向きではありませんし、彼女の身を運ぶことを優先に考えれば妥当な人選でしょう。
Sorry, Impy, your route was a long time ago.
何か反論は？
特にね。恩に切るぜ、みんな。
We leave them behind as Lupin grabs my hand and begins running at full speed. I'm not going to pick her up this time. We continue to push forward into the darkness. The path seems to go on forever, filled with a dark, oppressive silence that would make anyone feel alone and uneasy. But right now, Lupin has my hand. Lupin who loves me for who I am. That's why, no matter what lies beyond this darkness, I feel like I'll still be alright. Soon I see a faint light ahead. That must be the place where the secret to Father's plan could realize must lie. Father's secret, my secret, will be uncovered. Then we follow the faint light into a new space. I feel like the ending is coming soon. I just don't know when. There. There's a vast expanse, so large that it's hard to believe it could be underground. The huge machine, about 10 meters in diameter, is perched in the center. I see some strange objects all throughout the room. These objects, a countless number of small metallic discs, weave a complex, slow dance around the walls and floor.
おいおい、なんだよこりゃ。バカでかい天球儀か。
It's all a huge machine in which each part moves slowly according to some rule. The parts move slowly but steadily, almost like the ever-changing patterns in the sky. This is Father's secret?
少し違うね。
Finis.
この装置は父様そのものであり、僕そのものでもあるんだ。
So many secrets is being revealed in this chapter. Are we still in chapter 11 or did I miss something? I don't understand. What do you mean?
おい、もったいぶるんじゃねえよ。真実を教えるんじゃなかったのか。
Yes, we're all listening.
ああ、そうだったね。そう焦らなくても約束は守るよ。さあ、見せてあげるよ。これが僕、フィーニスの真実さ。
He suddenly pulls out a pistol and he points it at himself, right? What? At his own temple. Then he fires without hesitation. What did you... I can't help but ask, even though I know that I won't get a response. Lupin and I stare down upon Finis, who has now become an unmoving corpse, but then...
ちょっとしたパフォーマンスのつもりだったんだけど、どうやら喜んでもらえなかったみたいだね。
I hear a voice. Finis? The voice doesn't come from the body on the floor, but echoes throughout the entire room.
そんなに慌てないでよ。僕は目の前にいるじゃないか。
What? Could it be? Finis?
そう。普段表に出ているフィーニスなんて、ただの生体端末。操り人形に過ぎない。これが僕の本当の姿。本体さ。
So that's what Alistair and Saint Germain both killed in their own route. I thought it was something like that. I thought that I knew Finis can like project his soul, so to say, to each of these bodies, but I didn't know whether this globe controlled them all or not. I knew it was the host of her father's like memories, I guess, but I didn't know it also like had Finis a part of him too. So that's what they came to destroy.
一つ壊れても、また別の体を用意するだけ。いくらでも替えが利く。故に僕は不死身というわけさ。滑稽だよね、ヘルシングは。あんな必死になって、たかが人形を壊し回っていたんだから。
The real Finis is a machine.
別に機械でも何でもいいじゃないか。姉さんだってただの人形なんだからさ。それにこの体は僕であると同時に尊敬すべき父様でもあるんだよ。
Father? For a second I don't know what he's saying.
僕という存在はいわば父様の精神を保存する記憶装置なんだよ。
精神の保存だ？
そう。この体には世紀の天才アイザック・ベックフォードの脳、その膨大な知識が詰め込まれている。そしてこの器こそがコードリアライズ、新たな神の創生の鍵さ。
A new god. I'd heard those words from Finis's mouth many times by now, but the more he tells me about it, the more surreal it all seems. There's no way that a man could create God. I think that anyone would feel the same way I do. However, Finis only laughs, saying that this is a given.
普通ならそう考える。でも、父様ならできるんだよ。言ったでしょ？僕らは父様の部品だって。人間よりはるかに優れた思考を持つ僕という名の機械の器。それを動かす不死の象徴にして生命の永久期間、ホロロギウム。これらを父様の頭脳、精神が得たらどうなると思う？朽ちることのない体、無限の思考。それは真理すらねじ曲げるだろう。そんな存在を神でなくて何という？父様は文字通り機械仕掛けの神になろうとしているのさ。
The doll that had been lying on the ground slowly stands up as the voice speaks. It shakes as it cocks its head from one side to another with a blank expression. Just as Finis said, it's like a puppet being controlled by strings.
さあ、 ついてきてもらうよ姉さん。父様の悲願達成のために。僕が父様に愛されるために。父様と一つになるために。
I get chills and take a few steps back. Lupin, however, takes a step forward as if protecting me.
お前の事情はよくわかった。が、こいつはもう俺の女だ。
I have claimed her.
はい、そうですかって奪わせるわけにはいかねえんだよ。さてさて、取り出したるはうちのポンコツ技師特製の超高性能爆薬。
The way he said it, it's like he's putting on a performance, a demonstration.
俺の質問に答えな。でなきゃこいつでお前の本体を吹き飛ばす。
へえ、爆弾ね。
Primitive.
ずいぶん原始的な手に出るじゃないか。それに君は相手を傷つける武器は使わないって聞いていたけど。
暴力はどこまで行っても好かねえが、愛する女を守るために必要だってなら俺だってためらわねえよ。
Lupin.
教えろ。こいつから毒を取り除く方法をな。
Probably gonna say something like, take out her hologram.
何がおかしい？
心配しなくても姉さんの毒は消えるよ。
What? What do you mean?
ホロロギウムが本来の役割を果たすとき、つまり父様と一つになるときにその毒素は消え失せる。新しい体が溶けたりしたら悲惨だからね。まあもっともそれは同時に姉さんの存在も消すことになるんだけどさ。
てめえ。
Oh no. What's that?
ああ、そろそろ時間だね。
A sudden rumbling begins, quickly becoming so strong that we cannot remain standing. The ceiling is unable to withstand the shaking and begins to collapse on us.
よっと、危ねえ。
I quickly take Lupin's hand and jump away from the huge chunk of falling debris. But the crash I'm expecting doesn't come. I turn back and look. Did it just take off flying? What?
おいおいおい、どうなってんだ。あそこだけ世界が逆さになったみてえに。てか、ここ地下だぞ。空が見えてるってことは、まさか上にあるもん全部吸い上げられたのか。
Oh my goodness. He's here. No. I don't want it. I knew he was going to come. I was like, man, how do they get into an airship? Because I know that they're in an airship. At the end of this, by the end of this, they're in an airship somehow.
素晴らしい素晴らしすぎるぞ重力緩和装置
The gravity alleviator, that's what was stolen from MP. MP's going to be suddenly interested in this fight. I've heard this shrill voice somewhere before. That voice is far too distinctive to ever be forgotten. Oh my goodness. I know that voice.
ああ、飛行船レースでやり合ったあの変態科学者か。
He's right, I tried to remember his name. That's Nemo? What's he doing here?
アイザック先生の悲願を叶えるため我が頭脳ここに極まれり
We listened to the voice in complete shock.
あ、カルディア、逃げろ。
もう遅いよ。
Lupin's shout is just a split second too slow. Oh my goodness. When is this chapter going to end? Like, it's almost 2 hours long. And it's really past my bedtime. I was not expecting this to go so long. Steel wires shoot out like living snakes, and in an instant they wrap around my body, trapping me. The thick wire begins to cut into my skin. Several wires entangle me and lift me up into the air as I struggle in pain. Oh my goodness. He's so upset. I hear him shout from behind me, and I twist around to look at him.
Finis! そいつを離せ! 吹き飛ばされてえのか!
Lupin raises his arm, prepared to throw the bomb.
使ってみなよ。ただその場合は姉さんまで一緒に吹き飛んでしまうだろうけどね。
He hesitates for a moment, and a different wire whips across his body. His shouts of pain fill the hall. Lupin! Oh my goodness. Neo's high-pitched, cruel laughter rains down on us.
It's showtime!
His voice is completely off-kilter. What does that mean? The ground begins to shake once more. The silver globe in the middle of the area begins falling into the sky. Falling. It's like the sky and the earth have switched places.
さあ行こう、姉さん。もうすぐすべて始まるんだよ。すべてが報われる瞬間が来る。
Yeah, let go. Let me go.
カルディア、今助ける!
I thought you were being restrained too. Lupin gets up and starts to run. Oh, I guess he was just hit. He jumps with all his might. Oh my goodness, so many CGs. What am I going to use? This is a good one though, I think. Lupin flies through the air towards me as if he somehow has gained momentum in the air. No, he's not flying. He's falling towards me. The force that is pulling the massive globe into the air is probably working on Lupin as well. He's holding onto one of the wires in one hand and comes as close to me as he possibly can. He shouts at me forcefully. Lupin! I reach out as far as my arm will go. But then...
ダメだよ。
Oh no, we've been reversed. Lupin is thrown back. Whatever power is causing me and the globe to rise into the sky must no longer be working on him. We're just flopping back and forth. He falls straight towards the ground. I can hear his groaning all the way up here. No!
姉さんは僕のものだ。誰にも渡さないよ。
You're gonna have to work harder than that, Lupin, if you want her.
僕たちは一つになるんだから。
Don't say it like that, you sound creepy.
僕たちはこれでようやく愛される。
She's already loved, she doesn't need you. His voice makes my heart quiver. Lupin!
俺を信じろ、カルディア！必ずまたお前を盗み出してみせる！
You're his precious gem. He'll steal you over and over as long as it takes.
だから信じて待ってろ！
Lupin. The globe and I climb higher and higher into the air, and Lupin and I get farther and farther apart. I will. I shout down to him. I was able to believe in myself because you loved me. I can be a human because I loved you. I believe in you. I'll wait for you. So promise me that we'll meet again. I clench my fist tight as I whimper. Oh my goodness. That is quite the cliffhanger. Is it not even over? Oh my goodness. That's going to be a cliffhanger in regards to what happens to Cardia, but we're going to get, I guess, a little outside perspective. By this time, the fighting on the streets above have ceased. The streets above. Okay. Just as the government troops were about to gain control over the rebels, something suddenly came down from the sky, something unimaginably huge. Calling it a flying battleship wouldn't do it justice. It's a flying fortress, or perhaps even an entire city wrought in steel and hovering in the air above London. Is it the Nautilus?
なぜこんなものが空を飛べるのだ?
A strange orb floats up from the cathedral and into the enormous hovering thing. Oh, it like sucked him up like being abducted by aliens. So that's how they get into the Nautilus. I kind of missed that part on the first playthrough. They got sucked up in it. Lionheart stares up in shock as this all takes place before him. More than just Lionheart. Everyone, enemies and allies alike, are all transfixed on the scene before them. A mechanical monster floating in the night sky. The sight is so far from anything that any of the people here have seen in their entire lives. Suddenly, the floating behemoth drops a glowing blue object. It falls straight down into the plaza in front of the cathedral. Oh no.
何か落ちてきたぞ。
It's gonna blow you all up.
気をつけろ。宝石か?
A gem. It's an understandable question. The object that fell into the middle of the plaza looks like some kind of strange device. A beautiful, shining, crystalline light is spilling through openings in the device.
逃げろ！撤収だ！走れ！一刻も早くここから逃げるのだ！
Just as Lionheart shouts, jets of gas blast out of the device in all directions. One of the men who was hit by the gas suddenly screams and falls to the ground.
なんだ？何が起きてる？
I don't think I'd be asking questions. I think I'd be leaving.
とにかく逃げろ！逃げろ！
I know, right? The cloud of gas expands, engulfing the shouting soldiers, who immediately falls to the ground and lie motionless. Lionheart's mind is on the device, now hidden within the cloud, as he orders his troops to retreat. That gem-like shine, it was unmistakably a gleam of Victarium that the Queen has shown him before. Oh no. And when it had looked that the loyalist troops were about to subdue the rebels, they were beaten by the monster in the sky. Shortly after, Nemo's crowing from the massive floating machine tells them everything. The airborne fortress is named the Nautilus. This ship would pull Britain and eventually all the world into war and will continue to fuel those flames for all time. And this ship has become the seat of God for Finis and the rebels. The rebels are dead on the ground. Like, they're not in there. And the throne of the devil to Lionheart and the others. Oh my, is that finally the end? Like, it's been going on forever. There's been like 12 potential cliffhangers. And then chapter 12 is Code Realize. And we're hearing birds chirping again. We must be in Omnibus's place. Anyway, that is the end of chapter 11. It was really long, over 2 hours, because there's no way I'm cutting out 19 minutes of mistakes, even though I had a really terrible time reading today for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, a 2-hour one. And this is not even the last chapter. There's 12 and then there's 13. One of them is going to have a lot of backstory of Finis and Cardia. It might be this one or it might be in 13. But yeah, you'll get to know them before they became what they are, I guess I could say. Because Isaac, in his mind, did create his kids. But just not the kids. Not in the way that he was hoping to. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. We'll just have to wait and find out. There were so many CGs, I don't know what I'm going to pick, but we'll find out. Yeah. Oh, my mind is pretty much gone right now. I'm thinking about a lot of things. A lot of secrets were revealed. And it's like 3 a.m. as well. So my mind is also thinking it's sleep time. So if you guys did enjoy it, drop a like down below and or subscribe for the rest of Lupin's story. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.